Has Beyonce surpassed Michael Jackson as the greatest entertainer of all time? Huh? Find out next here on Numbers Matter. Peace and love, family. Peace and love to you all out there. Let me get the music off. A little live technical difficulty. Peace and love, family. Peace and love. Thank you so much for being here tonight with me. I want to say queens and kings up to everybody out there tuning in. I want to say welcome to Numbers Matter Podcast, where we pay universal numeric interpretive tribute to classical, cultural, historical, and current people, places, and things across all 11 areas of activity. I am your host, Queen B, and I want to thank you for joining me on a Friday night on this Venus day. Thank you for showing me that Venus love on a Friday. That's perfect. Also, this is an 11 universal day, so you know what that means. That means Michael Jackson, baby. So I appreciate you being here. If you're here, if you're new to the page, please subscribe to the page. Go check out my other content. It's so much for you to see on there. We have a lot there. We have a lot in store for you for 2025. And I'm excited to be here with you tonight. I want to welcome back all my recent subscribers. Thank you for being here on BTV. I want to salute to a lot of you. I've been seeing you tune into the videos and leave me comments, and I've been chopping it up with you a little bit. So thank you so much for being here and subscribing to me here on BTV and Numeralytics. And of course, I want you to spread the love. So make sure you put a like on the video. Make sure you check out all other content on the page. And make sure you share this with a loved one today. And make sure that loved one loves Michael Jackson or they love Beyonce, a fan of both. Because we're going to be getting into those two pop stars tonight. So, of course, like I said, today is an 11 universal day. So it's no better time to continue our discussion on Michael Jackson. You know, the one that we started a couple weeks ago when we started December out on that other 11 universal day on the Live with Lloyd show over there on the Numbers and You YouTube channel. Y'all remember that? If you don't remember that, I want you to head over there now. That's the Numbers and You YouTube channel. I want you to make sure you tune into that so you can understand everything that we're doing here on Numbers Matter with Michael Jackson moving forward, because he's going to be a part of this podcast as we move forward. We're going to be doing different tributes and different things to tap into him since he was so dynamic and generational. And since that is what really kicked this all off, we're definitely going to make sure we tap in with him. So I encourage you to head over there, subscribe, watch that show, watch all Lloyd's other shows. They're so entertaining and a lot of good information there. So thank you, family. And I just want to make sure, let me check in with the family because I see a little comments in here. Peace, Carnell. Peace, King. Let me peace up the King and give him a king's up. I'm glad that's him tapping in because I want to share something with the family. Give me 1 second. Next year on BTV, I am proud to announce that we will be returning with, don't tell me I don't have it up here. Okay. We're going to be returning with Justice on Earth Podcase. So, you know, that's the podcast where we basically uncover injustices across the globe, across all areas of activity. And it's the Black American lead for justice in America with our community, uplifting our community first through historical context and current context with justice situations, and really just exposing, the injustices of the world and working to really replace that with a system of love and healing and of justice, of true equity, freedom, equality, and justice. I don't have the banner here yet, but I will get it up there before the end of the show. I want to make sure I shout that out. Peace and love, Leslie Brown. Queen's up to you. Let me give her a queen's up real quick before we get started. I want to thank you guys for tuning in live. Peace, Shawan. Thank you, Queen, for tuning in live. Queens up to all the queens out there. Kings up to all the kings out there watching this live. And it's so special that you guys are here watching this because we're going to be talking about like probably the most famous like queen and king that we know in our community. And that's, of course, Michael Jackson and Beyonce. Of course, we've been in tune with the chatter that's been going around, the buzz, if you will say, going around on the internet lately. So we just want to tap into that, just take a look at things and see what's going on. So tonight we'll be analyzing that statement. We'll be analyzing, is Beyonce, did she surpass Michael Jackson as the king of pop? Now, this has all been going on since her incredible performance that she did during the Christmas Day halftime show in Texas. I love Beyonce. So, I mean, to me, she's a very talented sister. She is a trailblazer. And she really does her thing. Like, she's really talented. And big up to the queen. Big up to Queen B. We even got the same name. She spells it different. And that's why numbers matter, because those spellings and those vibrations matter. But yeah, so, this is no way, shape, or form a slight to Queen Bee or the Beehive or anybody like that, because we're going to be edifying both, because that's what we do here on BTV. We don't slander or slash any of our community people like that. And, we talk the numbers. That's it. We just going to talk facts and numbers. That's what we do here. So, big up to both of them. They both are trailblazers and great creators and great, artists in their own right. You know what I'm saying? So, big up to them. They're part of the Black American community. Like I said, we are the bag and they are the bag. They got the bag and they did it, and they're still doing it. Even Michael Jackson, that he's no longer here, he's transitioned. He's still breaking records to this day. And that's going to be a kind of a part of what we explore tonight. As we go through this and look at, did Beyonce surpass Michael Jackson as the greatest entertainer of all time? Okay, so let's get ready to get into this. 1 second. All right, I'm going to pull the slides up because I want to get right into this, because we're going to go through a few things. But this is going to be so cool, guys, because what I did was, in honor of both artists' sign, which is Virgo. There goes both Virgos. And Virgo is the negative period of 5. So we're going to be presenting 10 different like factors tonight. 5 for each person. 5, not really 5 for each person, but just 5 representing each person. So we'll just do 10 altogether. And I think that's going to be cool. So let me get the slides on the screen. Hold on 1 second. And also, I want you guys to put in the chat, we need our hashtag justice for MJ. So the hashtag J4MJ. Also, if you're tapping in, let me know what generation did you meet Michael Jackson. That's always good to put in the chat. Let me know, do you think Beyonce surpassed Michael Jackson as the greatest entertainer of all time? Let me know what your opinion is on that. Put that down in the chat below. And of course, make sure you like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Welcome to BTV Numeralytics. We're so happy to have you here. So we're about to get started. So let me just pull up the slides, and then we're going to start here. Why is this not coming up? There we go. All right. Can you guys see the slides? Give me a 1 in the chat if you can see the slides. Matter of fact, give me a justice for MJ in the chat if you can see the slides. Give me a pound J for MJ. I want to make sure everybody can see that. And then let me do this. All right. All right, guys. So we know what we're doing here. This is Numbers Matter unit. This is episode 3. And we're going to get started here. Let me get to the next slide. So we're first going to be looking at these 5 factors for each person. And this is not really who's better or who's worse. We're all here for a reason and for a purpose. So um, you know, it's just to look at the differences and the dynamics, and they also have a lot of similarities. Um, so that's going to be interesting to point out the similarities that they have. Let me see if I can change this view. Give me 1 second, guys. I want to change this view to this regular view. I think this is the regular one, yeah, but not that color. We can do that. All right, there we go. On the scene, technical moves on BTV. All right, so here we go. So we're looking at this slide here. So what we're looking at here is 5 lytics that we're going to be reviewing to see the similarities and the differences with Beyonce and Michael Jackson. So we're going to start with their dates of birth. They're both Virgos, like I said. Michael Jackson, born August 29th, 1958. That makes him a Virgo 11 or a 2. Um, and then we have Beyonce. She's born September 4th, 1981. That makes her a Virgo 4. So we're going to start with that, and we're going to start with their and. That's their astronumeric descriptor. So that's going to be their sign and their number together. So the way that we say that for Michael Jackson, he is an earth sign water number. That makes him a pragmatic, steadfast, sensitive analyzer. He's a manifestor soul. And then Beyonce, her astronumeric descriptor, she is a earth sign air number. That makes her a pragmatic, steadfast, intellectual thinker. And she's a manifestor spirit. So this is, they're both manifestors. Michael from the soul, Beyonce from the spirit. Um, so that's interesting to me. They're both earth numbers. Beyonce does have that air, the earth and the water, a little bit more compatible with the earth and the water. You can grow things and nourish them. And then we're going to go ahead and keep going through this because we got a lot to get through. We're not going to go too technical and deep. We're just looking at some of the surface stuff here. And then what I like to point out too is with their dates of birth. Michael Jackson was born in a 5 universal year. To me, that denotes that he was sent here to make dramatic change, maybe dealing with the public some way or in some way, some speculation. And Beyonce was born in a 1 universal year, which tells me that she was here to be a trailblazer or be a leader or in some respect, invent something, lead the way for something, clear the path for others some kind of way. So I think that's interesting too. So I just wanted to point that part out. And let's get on with it. So their individual frequency, this is where we're at, is for Michael Jackson. We're looking at the 11. His individual frequency is 11. Also the 2, ruled by the moon. That represents Cancer in the 4th house. And that tells me that Michael Jackson's intuitive. He's inventive. He's somewhat, he's an artist, poetic. Visionary, very spiritual. He gets maybe spiritual downloads with that master number 11. He is the master eye for greatness. Very futuristic ideas that are very much ahead of their time, but timeless nonetheless. That 11 also gives you empathy and kindness and a community mindedness. And then with that too, because we're human, even Michael Jackson, so not everyone can vibrate high on that 11 at all times. So with that too, that gives him compassion. He's diplomatic, gentle and receptive. He's a peacemaker, really. He's understanding of people and situations. 2s are gentle. They're inventive romantics. I call them like the gentle romantics. And to the negative, 2s can also be moody, shy, and critical. They could be petty, deceptive, and insincere. So those are some of the negative qualities of his too. And then when we look at Beyonce, she's a 4, a Virgo 4. That she's sorry guys here. All right, so here we go with Beyonce. She is a Virgo 4. She that is ruled by the planet Uranus and represents Aquarius in the 11th house. That tells me Beyonce is hardworking. She's diligent. She's an affinity toward the odd and unusual. She likes to be different. She's practical, methodical, mechanical. She's very disciplined with loyalty. And she has a love of detailed work, and she's technologically inclined. And she has the ability to, have mass communication. Like she has mass communication kind of ability and skill to kind of relate to that and be able to spread her wing out with that 4. And then to the negative, 4s can be cruel and moody, despondent, revengeful, negative, and indifferent. And I always like to say about 4 people, they have an affinity to their work because 4s love work. And I think often they need to do work that they find meaning in, which gives them meaning. And it helps them to kind of be in better moods. So I think they just need to find work that really drives them and makes them happy. And then they just need to stay busy in that and feel the worth in what they do. And I think that, 4s are just fine. I love 4s. And the other thing I point out here with their numbers are Michael Jackson. Of course, he has the moon numbers, the 2 and the 7. So his key numbers would be the 2, the 7, and the 5, and the 11. And then Beyonce's key numbers would be the 4, the 1, and the 5. So they both have that 5 as their one of their numbers. Excuse me. They both have that 5 as one of their numbers. And Michael Jackson has the moon numbers. Beyonce has the sun numbers. So they would be compatible. They have similar qualities, like inversion of qualities. So what's interesting is Michael Jackson, the man, has the moon qualities, the moon numbers, and Beyonce, the woman, she has like the sun qualities, which is the masculine, more physical numbers. So the masculine's more physical and the moon's more receptive. So, but usually those are vice versa, the way that we think about gender. So that's pretty cool about them. I thought that was cool. So like I said, going through these lytics, you really do find things that are cool and that show a lot of similarities. And it just really shows how all of us are here for a unique purpose. So, whatever set of numbers that you have all the tools that you need to work with them and really, propel yourself forward to the next level. Especially if you tap into them and you really are just disciplined in what you do. A lot of that is just your environment and your discipline and how you approach situations. So let's get on with it. So we got through their and their if. So I hope you guys like that. I call that the and the if, because I call that, and if you know your keys and or your ops, you can get through any situation that's presented to you. And it's really just a guide to help you navigate things better and more smoothly. You want to go when the tide is at your back. You don't want to be fighting with the tide. You don't want to be caught in a rip tide and then you're just trying to swim back to shore. You're going to drown. So that's the way I look at it, and I hope that's the way you guys see it too. And let me know. Let me check in with the family because I think we got more people here. All right, we got some justice for MJs. Let's get these up on the screen. Let me check in with the family real quick. Let me take that down. Hey guys, how are you guys? Let me check in. We got Melrose Mike. Salute to the king. Peace, family. That's right. Justice for MJ. Mike, I'm starting up the Justice on Earth podcast back in 2025 next week on Thursday. I'm going to be having a co-host. So we're going to get it in. And you obviously are always welcome to be on that whenever you want. If you want, I'm always trying to bug you to come on something. And let me see. Shawan says she's listening intently while I finish my last hour of work. Looking forward to this for real. I'm looking forward to it too. Shawan, thank you for tuning in, Queen, while you're working. Thank you for that. Queen's up to you and King's up to everybody in the audience. Hope you guys are enjoying this so far. We're going to get back into the numbers. All right. So we're down to the birth name now. So we're just going to be looking at we'll look at the expression in a minute. The expression just means the whole name, what it adds up to. Okay. That's all that means. And we're going to look at that in a minute. But first, I want to look at the similarities with their first name. So look at their first name, you guys. They both are master number 33 in the Pythagorean system. For those of you that don't know, the Pythagorean system is the system of numerology that's the more modern system. And it's the one that's most used here in the West. But I use both systems. But I do use the Pythagorean system because it can really tell you a lot. And I use that based on like the whole name, and then I do the whole lick based on that. So great. I'm so glad you guys like this. So let me get this back up on the screen so you guys can see. Oops, I think I just removed it. Hold on. Add the stage. Here we go. All right. I think I'll stay up here on the side. I like myself up on the side better. All right. So look at their first names. Their first names are both 33. So that's interesting. This tells me that this is what I'm saying, guys. We know, well, I know, and and I hopefully you guys know that, yeah, Beyonce has not surpassed Michael Jackson as the greatest entertainer of all time, but Beyonce in her own right is a great entertainer, and no one can take that away from her. And her numbers even tell it. Like, she has the numbers for it. She has the energy for it. She had the discipline with the family unit for it. Like I always talk about, just how Michael had that family unit, and Beyonce had the family unit too. Now, albeit, the family broke up, but that was later. She was grown when her parents broke up. So she had her family unit growing up, and it was a structure and discipline. And that's what it takes for the Black American family to rise above everything that we're going to. It's going to take us to get back to that foundation with the family unit, similar to Beyonce's number 4. That's the number of foundation and, restriction, discipline. So, these are the things that we got to do. So that's why I want to bring this out, so family can understand what these numbers are, what your numbers are. Then you tap into them to just be your greater self. And just to make sure you're doing things at the right time, at the right place, and you don't get caught at the wrong time, at the wrong place, out somewhere riding on a high tide when your tide is low and you should be laying low, chilling and studying or doing whatever you do. So this is why it's important, because it can save family life. It can save our family's life. So that's why I do it, and I want to bring it to y'all. But Queen B, I'm always up on my soapbox, so I just want to make sure that I get that across, the message to the family. But their master number 33, that's the master teacher. It's the Christ consciousness 33. It provides inner strength. It can transform lower vibrations and frequencies into higher ones. Just with their presence, they're magnetic. They move with a great compassionate energy, loving energy, like home and family, the inner core, balance, all of that kind of stuff. And those 33, it tells me that they got to be double optimistic, double expressive, and filled with joy to stay above on that higher side of that 33 and not to drop down to that 6. So, I believe that both of them have done that. I see through both of their work that they both have embraced that master number 33. And I think that's cool. So, and that's also, it's healing energy. How Michael Jackson, how people would like fall out and stuff when he comes around and just stands there. I never really seen nobody do that for Beyonce, and I'm not being smart, but have anybody in the audience ever seen anybody fall out when Beyonce just came into the room and faint? And there's even been reports at a lot of, well, at least one of his concerts, there's reports that people even like died at his concerts because of their excitement and overjoy of seeing this man. So, it's not a knock on her, but like, when people start saying stuff like that, you got to get straightening out, because people just be saying stuff, and it's cool to give her props, but you don't got to give one person their props with tearing somebody else down or taking away somebody else's accolade. And that's what Queens Up and Kings Up is. That's why I made Queens Up first, and then I extended it to the Kings, because that's what that is. Queens Up means Queens Up. Queens understand their power. They understand their position. They understand that power that they have to set the bar. And you do that by the way you respond and by the way that you handle yourself. You know what I'm saying? So you don't, and that's it. So that's the whole thing. You don't have competition with each other. You queens up each other. You know what I mean? You each understand your own position and your own power and your own power that you bring and your own energy that you bring to something. That's what Queens Up is. And then extend the Kings Up. So that means the same thing for the men. And then we got to do that as a family unit. You know what I'm saying? So that's what that is. And that's what these two have done. To me, they're both exemplary of that. They're exemplary of that master number 33 and Kings and Queens Up energy. So, salute to them. Salute to both of them for that. And salute to Beyonce. I liked her performance. I think she does a great performance. I think she puts on a great performance. And I think, people need to stop hating on her. because people's always hating on Black Americans all the time. It's one thing or another. Beyonce, they hate on the girl Angel Reese that just came into the WNBA. They hate on her a lot. And it's just, I don't like that. Like, stop doing that to each other. You know what I'm saying? We got to big each other up and support each other. Everybody's different and everybody got something, good to bring to the table. So let me get back off that soapbox and let's get back into these lytics. So let's point out that since they both have the same key 30 master number 33 for their first name, because that just means that's your key name, that's your active name. That's the frequency and energy that you most resonate with, because that's what you're called by every day. No one calls you by your first and last name. They call you by your first name. So that's your active name. So since they both have the same active name, what we do in numerology to kind of differentiate their energies is we look at their cornerstone. And there's a lot of other things we could look at, but for tonight's purposes, we'll be looking at their cornerstone and Michael Jackson. And what I find even more interesting and more patterns in these numbers between these two is that Michael Jackson's cornerstone is a 4, which is Beyonce's number. And Beyonce's cornerstone is a 2, which is Michael Jackson's number. So they flip. See, their sun and their moon numbers, they flip, they invert. So Michael Jackson's individual frequency is an 11-2. Beyonce's individual frequency is a 4. Michael Jackson's cornerstone is a 4. And Beyonce's cornerstone is a 2. So they really do have a lot of similar energies. And they just express them in different ways. And that's what that means. So with Beyonce, she's the way she approaches things is more in a diplomatic way, more in a compassionate and gentle way. And we see that of Beyonce. She's like that. She's classy. She's gentle when she approaches people in her interviews and stuff like that. And Michael, that with that 4, he approaches things very foundational, discipline, structure, a little odd and unusual. All that. So I think it's very interesting that these two they're interesting. Their sun and their moon numbers just keep flipping back and forth. So I think that's pretty cool. And then let's talk about their expression. So Michael's expression is an 8. And that 8 denotes that he is the power of concentration. He's magnetic, power of success, financial wherewithal, legacy minded, legacy building, zeal for any cause that he espouses. So, look at his Heal the World Foundation. Look at his humanitarianism. He poured his heart into that. He donated, a lot of his proceeds to humanitarianism. He did the We Are the World that raised, so much millions and millions of dollars that we'll get into on another show for, famine and the end world hunger in Africa. So, that 8 is an old soul frequency, and Michael was an old soul, and that tells us that while he was younger, older people were attracted to him. And we see that through his, relationships as being a child star, starting out when he was 5 years old, which I'll point out that Beyonce started when she was 8 years old. So they see these similarities between these two. Oh my gosh, Beyonce with the 5 and Michael started at 5 and then Beyonce started at 8. So you see how their numbers kind of, they're really similar. They're very similar. And I think that's pretty cool. So again, 8's that big business expression. And then Beyonce's expression is a 3. And that's a great expression for an artist. That's the artist expression. I mean, she has the expression of the artist. That's an artist in any shape, form, or fashion. Poetry, drama, acting, speaking, singing, canvas, painting, whatever, building model cars, whatever, you name it. That's the artist factor. The drama, the temperament, the natural entertainment. And those 3s, they're also optimistic, active, and conscientious about their work. Youthful, that's a youthful number. They attract people from different cultures. But they do have to watch to be, not too expressive and gossipy, because that could, they need to avoid scandals. So that's the one thing with the 3, with their entertainment. But they are a natural. They have a natural ability for the stage with great stage presence and all that. So I think that's pretty cool. Let me check in with the family because we're almost halfway through this part. I want to see what the family got to say. I know Shawan got stuff to say. She said that's interesting. Melrose said, I never saw anyone pass out But back in '03, I spent a lot of time around her and Jay at Rucker Park, and she was really radiant and emitting great energy. Yeah, that radiant energy, Mike, is that radiant energy is that's that 33. That's her first name. That's that Christ consciousness energy. It's healing energy. It's magnetic. It's, people are attracted to it. It's literally like light. She does have that. So, Queen's up to Queen B. You know what I'm saying? That's my namesake too. I'm BEE. She's BEY. You know what I'm saying? So Queen's up to her. And salute to her for that awesome performance that she did. That a lot of the people are hating on, a lot of the low pundits and all that are hating on her and saying, her performance was, terrible and all this kind of stuff. And we all know that's not true. We all know that it's not true. We know what they do. They done it to Michael Jackson. They do it to all the greats. They try to sully their name in the media and bring them down and lessen them and lessen their position. But when you transcend greatness like she has done, just like Michael Jackson, then nobody can stop you. They can't stop you. So that's what they'll try to do, but they can't. So let's see what everybody's saying. Hey, Shawan. All right. Let's get back to it. All right, so let's get on to the Chaldean system. We're not going to spend much more time there other than this. We'll talk about the expression and the life path later when we get down there. And then so for Chaldean, now this is where Michael has like a little edge on Beyonce with the lytics, with the name, because Michael's name for his first and last name are both master number 22s. And as we know, the master 22 is the master builder. For practical reasons, they're a master builder for humanity. They have that energy and they just build things that are practical, that withstand the testament of time. Those two twos come together. They flow into that 4 to build things practically. So Michael has that. He's got the 22, and that gives him the 44. So that's something also that's a little unusual. Michael has the same expression in both Pythagorean and in Chaldean. So I thought that was cool. And then Beyonce's name in Chaldean is a 28-1. So that's not such much of a favorable number. The 28 is the number of contradictions. Some call it the divorce number. And not in a divorce sense of you're getting a marriage divorce, but sometimes it is that. But it's usually when like with signing contracts, you have to be careful what you sign, careful who you trust in trade. So like competition in trade and like kind of underhanded like advice that you would be given. And as a number 1, you should be following your own advice anyway. You shouldn't be taking someone else's advice. You can listen to it, but as a 1, you should always be leading yourself and taking your own advice because you know what's best for you already as a number 1. You're a born leader. So that 28, she needs to be, that's a to take care number to make sure you're watching what you're signing and all that kind of stuff. So if I was Beyonce's astronumerologist, I might tell her, like either, change a letter in there or, go by your middle name. Her middle name is Giselle. And her Giselle in Pythagorean is a 33. So that has the master number energy too. So that's the other thing, Mike. That's why she was so radiant. Like she's the 2 master numbers, her first and second name. Her first and middle name are both master numbers. And then her last name adds up to a 27, which are Michael's numbers, the moon numbers. So see how similarities they have, even though that 27 equals a 9, but that 2 and the 7 together are the moon numbers. And that's a very spiritual number, very intuitive and all that kind of stuff. So it all resonates together. All right, moving on through the lytics. So now we're at their life path. So Michael was a life path 24-6. Beyonce 23-5. So, they're right kind of next to each other there with their life path. But with Michael, his life path 6, he's here to learn responsibility, magnetism, dependability, to be a helper to those in need, stuff like that. Love for home, family, community, accountability, responsibility, harmonizing, and learn not to be stubborn, obstinate, and dogmatic and slow to decide. And I think Michael did that. I think, he might have had some issues with that, but all of us do. That's what our whole path is about. And Michael was robbed of his life early. He was robbed of his harvest cycle. And he didn't even get to finish his productive cycle. So, when you don't have all your time, you might not get everything done, or you might not get all your lessons learned. So that's the nature of it. And that's what we deal with. So Beyonce being a life path 5, she needs to be enthusiastic, clever, adaptable, learn to be adventurous, expressive in her writing and speech, very curious, multidimensional, multifaceted, and she needs to learn not to be careless, overindulgent in sex, drugs, or alcohol. And learn not to be irritable or callous. So that those are her life lessons. And then we say that to say we want to look at the last lytic that we're looking at here. Michael's expression is greater than his life path, as we see here on the screen. And what that really means is that Michael is the teacher. He's the uplifter in this life. He will not meet others that surpass his level. He is the superior level. So those he meets will be under his level, and he'll pull them up to his level, or not to his level, but he'll have to pull them up with him, instead of the other way around. So he will not meet any greater than him. And he's seen that. And I think, that says a lot about him. And I think that says a lot about the argument that people are talking about is, did Beyonce surpass Michael Jackson as the greatest entertainer of all time? Well, I'm not sure how that could happen when Michael's whole reason for being here is that he was the teacher and the uplifter, and he was going to pull people up to him, and he wouldn't find any superiority to him in his lifetime. In his lifetime, he was still living it. So, and even now, when he's gone and he's transitioned into the other spiritual realm, he's still breaking these records to this day. So it's almost like his energy is still super strong and super resonating here. And I really feel like that because through these presentations and since I've been studying it, I've really been getting like downloads from Michael and just like little messages, little nudges, like say this, say that, and like just coming to me. And I'm like, I wouldn't have thought to say that or go look for that, And I just think it's him because I think his message didn't get heard when he was here. And he was a martyr, and that's a part of that 11 frequency too. They often can be martyrs. So he really embodied that whole 11 frequency, and then the 33 with the Christ consciousness. I mean, look at how he acted and how people treated him. He was just love and light. Like when he came around his people, he, always told people that he loved them, and he always made people feel welcome. So I think that's very telling. So let's get on to Beyonce's expression. Hers is less than her life path. Because her expression is a 3 and her life path is a 5. So for her, that means she's like the student, even though we're all students, but she is the student in this situation. That means she's going to have to climb to meet her opportunities. But on her way up, she's going to find influential friends and superior conditions for growth. So that's what we've seen with Beyonce. Look at the growth that she's done over the years. Her transformation from Destiny's Child, and being her breakout solo career. And she's really trailblazed for a lot of women and done a lot of things and created a lot of lanes. And look at what she's doing for her daughter, Blue Ivy. I think it's beautiful the way she had Blue Ivy out there performing with her at that performance. I just thought that was great. And I think it's great the way that she's, giving Blue that purpose or giving her something constructive to do with herself. Unlike what some celebrities do with their kids, but people do what works for them. But it's good to see her at least looking wholesome and being wholesome and not looking too grown out there for her age and kind of stuff like that. So that is it for the lytics. I'm going to check in with the family because we're about halfway through. We're almost done, family. I hope you guys are enjoying this. Let's see what you got to say. Bert said, right, that's very true. Him being a humanitarian elevates him to the highest level. Yes, Bert, I think that is a major factor in our scorekeeping here. I think that's a major factor. So let's see. Great breakdown by Leslie. Thank you, Leslie. Shawan says she's just here to listen, girl. Do your thing. Right. They're both awesome. They are. Kings up and queens up to both of them. They're both awesome. And I appreciate both of them for everything that they've done. And everything that Beyonce will continue to do. So now we're going to get down to the last thing. It's going to be the actual comparing like some of their tours and some of their music and kind of stuff like that. Not all of it. We're only doing 5 things because we want to make sure we keep the time tight. And let's see. What Shawan said. Would you say growing up and going through issues with his family, Mike vibrated more on the lower end of the 6, but learn to master the 6, vibrating on the higher end of the master 33. I think that he often went in and out of that vibration, Shawan. I do think that he, for the most part, during a certain time of his life, vibrated on the higher end of it. But I do think in his earlier years, they were tough on him, and he had a first tough cycle because his first developmental cycle was at 8. And that's the second toughest to the 9, which Beyonce had. Beyonce has the 9 cycle, and Michael has the 8 as their development, their growth and development cycle. So I do think that. I do think that because dealing with that trauma, and Michael had trauma from a lot of what went on with his family, his dad, and we're all human, so it's going to come out. But the thing with him is he couldn't show his out in front of everybody, right? Like he couldn't do anything in public, and this is the difference between Beyonce and Michael Jackson. I'm not saying, because I know if Beyonce goes in public, people will come and all that kind of stuff. But when Michael Jackson went in public, like basically the whole city came. Like the whole city came. When his videos used to come on MTV, the whole world stopped to tune into that video. With like 10 million streams at once. And this is pre-internet. So this is the other thing that we got to look at. We got to look at these errors, and that counts for something, because the stuff that Michael Jackson did and the legacy that he built is pre-internet. And then based on the analytics that we just looked at their Numeralytics, Michael had that energy for business and legacy. And Beyonce has a little bit of a different path. She's an artist and all that too, but she's more trailblazing and doing things in her own way, in her own path, and maybe causing upheavals with that number 4 she's got, causing her own revolution, within the industry with the way that she does things. So they both have their differences and their strengths and weaknesses. And, but I think they've both done a great job of really dealing with all of that, plus the pressure of being a pop star and being, Black American in this country. And the thing that's good about music is that music transcends that. A lot of times it does, but sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes it just transcends it for the moment. But sometimes that's all it takes, is that one moment, right, for us to connect as a cosmic collective. And then, we can all do better amongst each other. So that's my soapbox on that. So let's get back into the presentation. Hope you guys are enjoying yourselves. Let me get back on the side here. I don't know if I like this side view. So, okay. So Beyonce and Michael Jackson. So the first thing, so we're going to go down in order from 5 to 1. So it's like the top 5, but I'm going from 5 to 1. So the tours is number 5. So the largest attendance to a Michael Jackson concert occurred on July 16th, which is one of his numbers in his period. That's in his period, the moon period, and that 7's a moon number. At Wembley Stadium in London, England. The concert was a part of his Bad World Tour. And back then, that was like 1988, 1989. It drew a staggering crowd of approximately 72,000 fans, and it grossed $125 million back in 1989. Now, today, that would equate to $318 billion, $37,298,000. I think I said that right. Yeah. So anyway, you see Beyonce's largest tour, the Renaissance tour, that adjusted gross was $579,879,000 billion. Okay, that's what they are. Billion, million, thousand. So Michael's is 318 billion, 37,298,000. Beyonce's was 579 billion, 879 million. 268,000. Now, both of these numbers are staggering. Now, in this tour, Beyonce is going to get the edge because she has more, but you got to think about the time. Like I said, look at the time that he did this. He did this pre-internet, all of that, pre-instantaneous. We can buy tickets instantaneously now. Like I can literally pick up my phone right now and buy a ticket to something and then just go to the concert. Back then, you had to like call, you had to go to a place, you had to go to Ticketmaster to get the tickets. You had to do a mail-in thing to get the tickets. So we got to think about that, who could do that numbers? Who can do those numbers in that era? And then the other thing, with the fans, that's a lot of fans. But today the venues are much bigger, so they can hold bigger amount of fans in these venues. So that's automatically going to make him make more money too. So those two factors, I mean, really, he's still beating her because look, he's still up there with her. If we translate that with the inflation today. So number 5 is tours. I mean, I think Michael still beats her out in this, but I'll give her the edge on this one, but because she hasn't really won any of the other ones. Not that it's a contest, but you know what I'm saying. Just looking at these comparisons. And then number 4, we're going to look at their star power. So Michael Jackson's star power has yet to be matched by any artist. Pre-internet, Michael would draw crowds of over 100,000 of people, no matter where he went. So this isn't just tours. This isn't like announced things. This is just him coming out. Like people are staked out of his house. He can't go anywhere. Anywhere he goes, within minutes, there's a crowd. And half the people are fainting and falling out and all this kind of stuff. And he had 5,000 people a night that would faint at these tours that he would do. And then the other thing is your favorite artist is Michael Jackson. So how can somebody surpass him when everybody's favorite artist that damn near that I know would be him if you say who's like the greatest artist of all time. So not sure how anybody could surpass that because I've never seen that effect or that impact the way that Michael had. I've never seen another artist have that impact on anybody else. And then Michael, you know, he would need military details when he would go on tour. Does Beyonce or anybody need that? Yeah, stepping out the house. Yep. I mean, you know, and this is not to be slight, but does anybody else need military detail on their tour? You know, so these are the things that we have to look at. And like, again, this was a time pre-internet, you know, when the people knew he was coming to London and all that, they swarmed the airport. He couldn't even get there. They had to call the military in to escort him and his family to the hotel. So these are the type of things, these are the effects that Michael had. And again, you know, he had 4 master numbers. So far, Beyonce, she is 2. You know, so he has double the master numbers that she has in his Numeralytics. So these are the things that we have to look at. So Michael Jackson gave SWV the human nature sample for free and let Nas use it as long as he did not curse. So, you know, these are the things we have to look at. He gave back to the community in that way, edifying other artists. You know, he did We Are the World. Who could get all those for We Are the World together in the same room? Artists of that caliber. Today, who could get them all in the same room to do something for world hunger? Who could do that? Who has the power to do that to this day? I don't know one artist that can, and I haven't seen one artist that really has done it to the level that he did it. You know, with the amount of money that he raised and all that kind of stuff, you know, in that. So I want to right now, real quick, guys, I want to see if I can share these videos. So I'm going to stop presenting this. Because we're going to look at this. We're going to look at this. We're going to look at this and see what's going on with this. Hold on. Let me share this screen up. Let me get this screen down. Because I want to show y'all. I want us all to see the impact. Now, me no copyright infringements, but we're going to show this. And as I don't think this would be copyright anyway. I don't think and I'm going to turn it down so no music is in it. Hold on. Let me share the screen. And I'm not going to share audio. Ooh, wrong screen. All right. Look at this, y'all. Hold on. right. I think you guys now come on now, guys. Who else is doing that? Who else has that kind of bravado with fans, with tours, like people falling out, fainting? When he got his Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1988, um, it was the biggest crowd of Hollywood Walk of Fame to this day. It's the biggest crowd that the Hollywood Walk of Fame turnout ever had, and people was fainting there. The cops was carrying people away. People was fighting the cops. It was crazy. It's crazy his impact. And then I'm going to show this real quick because this is just simply him at his hotel. So this is what I'm saying. This is the crowd that he drew at his hotel. So real quick. That's just the hotel, you guys. That's just the hotel. So this is what I'm saying, you guys. So that's the star power. So that star power, like no one's beating him with that. He can't be beat with the star power. That is what it is. Boogie, what's up, Boogie? Peace to you. Thank you for tuning in live here on this Friday, on this Venus Day, sharing your Venus love with the BTV and Numeralytics Cosmic Collective. Shawan said, that's amazing. Yeah, that's right. Bert said, yup, that's amazing. Mike is really that dude. Yeah, you see that? Like, who else is doing that? So how could anybody surpass him? Like, we didn't even get through all of them, and we already see that no one has surpassed them. So that's where we are. We're gonna let me get the slides back up here. From current slide. There we go. All right, let's get through the rest of the slides. All right, so that's the star power. And then we talked about him amassing all of the stars for We Are the World. So no other artist has done that either. So we can move on from this slide. We're done with this slide. So we're at number 3 now. So Trendsetter and Barrier Breaker. So Michael Jackson, if we talking real talk, he's the reason that Beyonce or anybody else, video is being played on MTV. Michael Jackson broke the color line. He broke the barrier in 1983 with Billie Jean. And once he did that, the floodgates opened. They started playing all of his videos in heavy rotation. And then they started letting the other Black artist videos get airplay on MTV in a more regular rotation. And this is how all that led to even the MTV Raps and all that kind of stuff. Without Michael Jackson, guys, we wouldn't have had none of that. So this is what I'm saying. Big ups to everybody else on what they're doing, but nobody had the star power that Michael has. Nobody had that. And then, like I said, nobody today. And then with the fashion, that was the other thing, the trend setting with the fashion. He's the king of style. Like all of the pop stars fashioned themselves after Michael Jackson's style, like the military jackets and the military looks and the leotards and all those type of lights and gadgets and functions on the outfits and doing different innovative things that he came up with on his own. He came up with those things in a time that we didn't have the internet. He didn't have AI. He didn't go to AI and look that up. He sat outside on a tree and he downloaded it from the tree, not the internet. Today we download things from the internet. We need to get back to downloading things from the trees. So especially those people that have an earth sign or they're the earth or an earth number. If you're earth sign or earth number, you should definitely be, grounding and hugging trees, sitting in trees, and don't be worried about what other people think about you. They already think what they want to think about you anyway. So that's not your problem. That's their problem, what they think about you. All right, so let's get on. So number 2 is overall net worth. Now, Michael Jackson, in an era of no internet, no means of instant mass communication and mass instantaneous purchasing power like we have today, amassed a net worth of a whopping $600 million at his peak. So if we look at that, when his peak was, it was like the late 80s and through the entire 90s is when he amassed this massive, amount of money. Today, that's worth $1.4 trillion, you guys. $1.4 trillion. So when we compare that to Beyonce's net worth, which is right now is her highest, she's a net worth at 760 million, according to Forbes. But the celebrity net worth for people put her around 600 million. But I give her the 750 million, even up to her 750 million, which is today's money. Um, Michael Jackson is higher. His is 1.4 trillion, up to her 760 million. So with that statistic alone, there's no way she surpassed him as the greatest entertainer of all time. He still holds all the Guinness Book World Records. And we're about to get into that next when we look at greatest album or most successful album. So we're going to look at each person's most successful album and see their what they made. So Thriller still holds the world record for the Guinness World Record for most successful album of all time. We could really stop right there. You know, we could have stopped a long time ago, probably, but we can stop right there because nothing's topping Thriller. Thriller is the greatest selling album of all time to this day. It sold over 67 million copies. It sold over it was selling a million copies like a day at one point. You know, it it came out on one of his days, February 7th, and February is one of his periods. And you know, when we look at that and we look at Beyonce's best-selling album, so I'll look at the Destiny's Child because the Destiny's Child did get up to 60 million, which is great. I love them. And look at them trailblazing ladies and queens up and how they're trailblazing for the women, you know. So we got the king of pop and the queen of pop. That's what I look at them as. You know, everybody want to know what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say. They both the king. Michael's the king and she's the queen right now. Right now, I call her the queen. I'm giving her the title from Black American perspective. No one I think is topping her from our community as far as entertainment and you know, just sales, entertainment wise, just talent, skill, ability, you know, mastery with stage presence and you know, understanding the role of it, you know, and really taking it by the horns and being that Virgo perfectionist. I analyze, I perfect, I purify. So you know, big up to the queen. She's the queen of pop. So Beyonce, her best-selling album against Destiny's Child was a $60 million. But then hers was her first debut solo album, which was Dangerously in Love, which came out in 2003. And when it first came out, it sold 6 million certified units, which is great. That's awesome. Like what? 6 million, you know? Some people are lucky to sell 6 copies of their album. So she sold 6 million, you know? And all her albums were successful like that. And her tours were successful like that. But Beyonce, and then to this day, so from 2003 to up to 2022, it sold 11 million units worldwide. Okay. So, you know, kudos to her. But at the same time, that doesn't top Michael Jackson's accolade. It does not top his. And then according to Sony Music of Germany, Michael Jackson has sold over 300 million, I think that's billion, 300 billion records, albums, and singles worldwide, including 81,290 million in the United States alone and 21,563,000 in the United Kingdom. And he's the best-selling album of all time, Thriller. So, and we know that sold, that says 66, but it's actually now it's up to over 67,000 copies. So that's that. And, you know, those are the Numeralytics. And I'm just like, I want to know what you guys think. You know, I want to know what you guys think in the crowd. Let's see. Kenny Gamble said he never met an artist that he couldn't walk down the street with during all his career while working with different artists. Yeah, that's that Michael Jackson energy. Yep, he's got 4 master numbers, the 11, the 22, the 33, and the 44. And probably if we dig deeper, there's probably other ones, you know. So that was the energy that he emanated. And it's undeniable. And then here he goes with his little cute self when he was a baby, 5 years old. Look at this little 5-year-old doing his thing when he had no fans. He looked like he was performing for the people on the right when he had no fans. So this is the type of energy that we're working with here. And Beyonce does have a lot of similarities and a lot of similar energy. And obviously her own unique, you know, things, natural skills and things that she brings to the table. So, I say that to say that that's it. It's not a competition, but there's no way that she surpassed Michael Jackson as the greatest entertainer of all time, especially not when no one has even come close to touching his record sales. And let's remember that he did those record sales in a pre-internet era where you had to actually get off your butt and go out and buy the album. You couldn't just download the stream and listen to it and all that kind of stuff. So that's what we're dealing with here. So I hope you guys enjoyed that presentation. I'm just going to put this back up here real quick to also just solidify the point that there's no way that he could be surpassed as the greatest of all time. When we look here, starting from 1969, youngest artist with the #1 hit, 1984, best-selling album of all time, 1984, longest #1 studio album, 1985, highest grossing tour ever. And that's ever, because when you do the math, it really does it. But they have it for that time frame. It has the record for the highest grossing tour ever. 1987, most #1 hits from a single album, Bad, and that was when he was just entering his productive cycle, and that was an 11 cycle. So that was really his intuitive spiritual, winning cycle. I mean, all of his cycles were winning cycles, but when he stepped into 1986 and on, he took off. Like, it just took off like a rocket from there, and he just amassed all these. And I won't read through all of these. You guys can see them on the screen. But until somebody else comes up with like something like this, then don't talk to me about somebody surpassing Michael Jackson as being the greatest artist of all time. Of course, like I said, and like I always say, he is Black American royalties, Black American greatness, and he is the greatest artist of all time. He's the king of pop, rock, and soul, and Beyonce is the queen of pop, and I give her that. I do give her that. She's the Black American queen of pop. So props to B. And I just want to share with you guys real quick. Give me 1 second. I want to share with you guys real quick what we got in store for you for our next episode. Let me put this up here. All right. So the next episode of the Numbers Matter Podcase, where we pay you universal numeric interpretive tribute to people, places, and things throughout the culture, is going to be this Sunday night at 9 p.m. I'm going to come on and we're going to talk about what's in store for 2025. So that's going to be the next episode. If you can tune in live, I would be so obliged. If not, you can always check the rebroadcast later. But that's going to be the next episode. So make sure you tune in for that. And I hope I have this other episode up here. Nope. So these are Michael's cycles. We're not going through this tonight. That's for another night. I didn't get to the cycles because there was too much with the other presentation. But I'm going to remove that now. But I am going to real quick. Let me stop presenting that screen, and I'm going to check in with the family. Shawan says she's loving this. All right. I'm loving it too. And I'm loving that you guys are here with me. I do realize it's a Friday night. So I do appreciate the love. And I appreciate the people who are hanging in there, because I do want to get this flyer up on the screen because I want to make sure that you guys know about the new podcast. It's not new, but the season we're revamping it a little bit. It's a rework for the new year. So it's the Justice on Earth podcast. And I'm going to just real quick pop it out for us so we can take a look at it. So just give me 1 second, guys. Work with me 1 second here while I pull it up on the screen. And it's going to be cool. We're going to be on this Thursday night, January 2nd. It's going to be at 10 p.m. Because it's going to be a little later because we're going to be, get into some topics. So I really hope that the family can join. This is only going to be airing on BTV. This will not be airing on Numeralytics. So if you're following me on one or the other, follow me on both. And you guys just keep, stay tapped in with the queen. Follow me on both. I'll be dropping jewels on both channels. Things that don't have anything to do though with like astronumerology. I'm not going to be really posting those on the Numeralytics YouTube channel. because I want to make sure that we're keeping that preserved for that. But BTV gets everything. BTV is BTV. It's Black Education Empowers True Vision. And that's what we do on BTV. We don't play around. So whatever we do, we do. Thank you so much, Boogie. Cool show. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much for being here on a Friday night. Thank you, Shawan. Thank you. Okay, hold on, guys, because the queen ain't done yet. I always got something going on. I'm about to pull this up so we can look at, so you guys can see the flyer. And you guys are just gonna love this. I think you'll really love it. I'm excited for it, and I know Carnell's excited for it. So it's got a lot of symbolism in it. We might, some of this might go on Numeralytics because we might be doing some number stuff on there, maybe. I always probably be throwing some esoteric spin in there, but we'll see how it goes. So let me get this on the screen. So here goes the flyer. And as you guys can see, this is going to be the Justice on Earth. It's a pod study. And this is only going to be taking place on BTV YouTube. So make sure you're subscribed to us on BTV. I'm uploading tons of stuff, tons of other content, that we want to repurpose and put out for the family, because there's a lot of great messages in a lot of our content. But I realize some things are too long for people to go back and watch. So we're going to try to extract some of the most important points out that we feel, and then we're going to put them up as shorts and videos. So please support the page. Put a like, just drop a little comment and I'll say something back to you. And that just helps the algorithm. But as you can see, this is going to be season 2 of Justice on Earth. If you want to catch up with the first season of Justice on Earth, you can do that on the BTV channel under podcast, and you'll see all of the Justice on Earth episodes there. So you can catch up with season 1, season 2. I am proud to present my co-host, Carnell Wind. I love this brother, you guys. I just love him. He's just the best. He's a number 4. I'm a number 2. We're the natural superheroes of the numbers, and we're coming together to fight crime and to fight justice, injustice on Earth. We're here to reverse the injustices by, exposing them and letting the cat out of the bag on these things and letting people know what's going on. And this is going to be for historic and current things, and it's going to be across the 11 areas of activity, and it's going to lead us to Justice on Earth. Of course, the Black Americans are going to be the charge in that lead. And then we're going to make sure that we're spreading that to our whole melanated family that we love and cherish so dearly, because we love our family. We love our family, and we just want everyone to understand that we are family, and this is a cosmic collective, and we need to start treating each other that way. But in order for us to do that, my community, we got to start looking at ourselves, love ourselves first, take time away from people, look inward, build ourselves up to a certain standard and a certain point where we want, and then we can really flourish, because we are the true justice, freedom fighters of this world. We've been doing it for centuries, and we're going to continue to do it and be the leading people that do that and lead the world to justice. And that's what we're going to do. And I know y'all saw that name, Lenny Valley. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. Okay? Don't play with it. That's Lenny Valley. Okay? She's a crime fighter. She fights injustices on planet Earth. And I hope that you guys are going to be tuned in for that. So that's going to be January 2nd, right here on BTV at 10 p.m. And then, of course, like I said, tune in for the next Numbers Matter, where we'll be looking at 2025 and the outlook. So I don't know exactly what I'm going to do for that yet, but I'm definitely going to just make sure we're looking at that universal year. And I might even do something special with giving you guys what your cycle is for next year, 1 to 9. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But until then, family, I just want to thank all of you guys for tuning in live with Queen B. Let me come over here and give the family some last remarks before we get out of here. Carnell, of course, salute to you, King. King's up. I'm happy to have you. I'm glad to do it. We're going to be great. It's going to be so exciting, and I can't wait. Shawan says she's there. Shawan, we need to talk, girl. You need to get on my show. Like, I don't know what's taking you so long. Thank you. She said that's very clever. Great job as always, Queen. Thank you, Queen. I really appreciate all you guys so much, and not to hold any more of your time because it's late and we're past our hour, but I hope you enjoyed this. Please share this with someone that loves Queen B and Michael Jackson, because we did edify both of those people tonight because we love both of them. They're a part of our community. They're a part of our legacy as Black Americans. And they do us proud, and we're proud of them, and we're proud to have both of them, and we're proud to have the king and the queen of respective pop as a Black American. So that's what I gotta say. I want to say numbers matter. So make sure you make them matter. And if you want to know more about your numbers, you can hit me up here. Let me put my banner up real quick. I didn't even do that. That's fine. Me being on here is promoting me. So if you rock with me, you can rock with me wherever I am. And I love you for it. So, but you can hit me up here, numeralytics.biz. You can shop there at besmartclothing.com, and my cash app is btv79. So thank you, family, for checking in with me. And if you guys want to follow us on IG and Twitter, you can do that at Numeralytics. And if you want to follow BTV on there, you can do that at Taylor B Media. I want to thank you. I want to make sure you guys are treating each other good. I want to send universal peace and love to the family, kings and queens, up to the cosmic collective family. Love you. Peace.